This is a complete walkthrough of the 1.1 through 1.2 quiz review. So if you're just doing this on a sheet of paper, you don't have to copy down every question. You can just write the problem number and just show any work as needed. Question 1 says, find the complement of an angle whose measure is 12 degrees. So this would just be 90 minus 12. And I got 78 degrees. So for question number 2, again, you don't have to copy the problem down unless you want to. What you'll notice is that 5x plus 2 is A, and 4x plus 17 is B, and these are vertical angles. Vertical angles are equal. So when I'm solving this problem, I'm going to set these two angles equal to each other and then solve. So I'm going to combine my x's first. I'm going to subtract 4x from each side. So 5 minus 4 is 1x, or just x. Next, you're going to solve for x, so subtract 2. And x equals 15. Remember, that's not the final answer, that's just the value of x. So go ahead and plug in 15 in place of the x above. So 5 times 15, I used a calculator, that's 75, plus 2 is 77. 4 times 15 over here is 60, plus 17 is 77. If you look at these and say, well, wait, they don't add up to 180. They're not supposed to. These are vertical angles, and they are congruent. To find the complement of an angle, you're taking 90 minus that angle. So in this case, I'm going to line them up. And I'm going to go ahead and add the missing pieces. You're going to have to borrow. Remember, there's 60 minutes in every degree. And then you're just going to go ahead and subtract. Just make sure it can't be simplified, and this one is good. So there's your answer. So a triangle, as you know, adds up to 180 degrees. So in this case, we have 3 angles of the triangle, and look at the formatting. It's listed below. This is A and this is B. So I'm just going to add up the angles in any order. It doesn't matter. It doesn't tell us what to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and add up the angles of this triangle. So once I have them all listed out, again, it doesn't matter which order you list them, I'm going to go ahead and combine the like terms. So 2x plus x is 3x, plus x is 4x, and then 30 plus 78 is 108. So then I'm just going to solve this equation. Okay, so I'm left with 4x, and I subtracted these in a calculator. I got 72. I'm going to divide by 4. So 72 divided by 4, and I get x equals 18. Now, don't forget, you're not just finding the value of x, you need to then plug it in. So go ahead and plug it into each one of these angles. Okay, so for this one, 2 times 18 is 36. So this is a 36 degree angle. This one is 18 because it was x plus 30, so 18 plus 30 is 48. And then the third angle, 18, because it's x plus 70, x plus 78. So 18 plus 78, and I got 96. So my 3 angles are 48, 36, and 96. If you want to just verify them, you can just add them up quickly in a calculator. So 48 plus 36 plus 96, and I got 180. So that works. So in this example, what we're looking at are supplementary angles. So hopefully you remember that supplementary adds up to 180. So if I take these 2 angles, the 3x plus 1 and the 2x plus 4, I can add them up and they equal 180. So go ahead and combine your like terms. And solve your equation. So although this is the value of x, don't forget that you're actually looking for the value of the angles. So remember to take each one of these angles that was originally given. So you had the 3x plus 1, and you also had the 2x plus 4, and you need to plug in 35 to find out the actual angle measures. Okay, so this, go ahead and again use a calculator if needed. So this one would be 106. The second one is 74, and if you add them together, you will get 180, so it checks out. So again, look at the formatting. So it gives you the values of the angles below here. Angle A is 3x plus 38, and angle B is 5x minus 34. These are those alternate exterior angles. So for number 6, these two angles are equal. So one of them is 3x plus 38, and the other one is 5x minus 34. And I'm going to solve this equation. So go ahead and you can choose whether you want to move the 3x or the 5x. I personally don't like working with negatives, so I'm going to move. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 3x from both sides and bring down what's left. Okay, next, again, the goal is to get the x by itself, so I'm going to add 34. And x equals 36. But again, don't stop here. The goal is to figure out the angle measure. So you're going to take 36 and plug it back into each one of these angles. Okay, so in each instance, I plugged it in and I got 146. I did the same thing here, 5 times 36 minus 34, and I got 146. If you're looking at these answers and thinking, well, wait, they don't add up to 180, again, they shouldn't. Instead, these answers should be equal, and they are, so you have the correct answer. So this question says to perform the calculation. So I went ahead and lined them up. Now I'm going to add. So I'm going to go ahead and add up the minutes column and the degrees column. So although this is what you get when you add up the columns, this is not considered a simplified answer. So what you have to do is you have to reduce these minutes so that they're less than 60. Remember, 1 degree equals 60 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract out that extra 60 minutes, which then adds in that full degree over here. So remember how we did that? So go ahead and subtract the 69 minutes minus 60, and then add in that degree. This is your simplified angle. And I just looked at my answer key and I realized I did this wrong. 69 minus 60 is 9. So this should be, instead of 19, it should say 09. So it would be 9 minutes, 09, or 9 minutes, not 19. Sorry about that. So 318 degrees and 9 minutes. So this is a line, so that means we're looking at supplementary angles here. So I can take the 5x plus 18, add that to 4x plus 144, and that's going to equal 180. It's a line. A line adds up to 180. I'm going to go ahead and combine my like terms. So go ahead and combine your like terms. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 162 from each side. And then go ahead and divide. Don't forget, this does not give you your final answer. This is just the value of x. So go ahead and take the x and plug it back in for each angle. Okay, so I put in 5 times 2 plus 18, and I got 28. 4 times 2 plus 144, and it's 152. If you add these back together, you get 180 degrees. So it checks out. So this question, you're going to bring out your whole degrees, your part of a degree, and then I'm going to pull out the other part of a degree, which is the seconds. This is 56 seconds. Okay, so when we did these, what we did was we divided by the amount of minutes in a degree. So every degree is 60 minutes. So I'm going to divide this by 60. The seconds, remember, was a little bit different because every degree has 60 minutes and every minute has 60 seconds. So to figure out how many seconds, we had to divide by 3,600. Now this question says to round to the hundredths. So when I did the calculation for this question, I went ahead and rounded in my calculator to 2 decimal places. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add up my parts of a degree. So I'm going to add up the 0.98, I'm going to add up the 0.02, and I'm going to bring down the 216. So now normally these parts of a degree would be less than 1, so you would just write this down here. But in this case, we kind of have an issue here because this is 216 full degrees. This adds up to a full degree as well. So you have the 216 here and another full degree over here. So what you end up having is 217 full degrees. If the directions want you to round it to the hundredths place, you could put 217.00. Otherwise, you can just say 217 degrees. So this is just a subtraction problem, and I'm going to go ahead and add in my zeros. I lined it up first. Now I'm adding in my zeros. When you are borrowing to get seconds, first you're going to try to borrow from the minutes, but you'll see that there's nothing here. So I'm going to have to go all the way over to the degrees column and borrow a degree. 90 minus 1 leaves you with 89. Each degree is equal to 60 minutes. So I'm going to add in the 60. Okay, now that helps me with the minutes column, but it doesn't really help me with the seconds column. So I'm going to have to borrow one of these degrees, these minutes, sorry, that I just got. So I'm going to take one out. There was 60 to begin with. I'm taking one out, so now I have 59 minutes, and that's going to add in those 60 seconds. So now go ahead and subtract each column. Just check your smallest unit, make sure it's below 60, and this one is, so this is completely simplified. This question is just identifying the type of triangle. Since it has an angle greater than 90, then this is an obtuse triangle, and since all 3 of the sides are different, this is scalene. Okay, in this one, what I'm doing is I'm converting. I'm converting from degrees, minutes, and seconds to, or from decimals to degrees, minutes, seconds. So I'm going to bring out my whole degrees. I have 101 whole degrees, and I have 0.13 part of a degree. What we did when we did these was we multiplied by how many minutes are in a degree. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply this by 60. Okay, so what this means is I have 101 degrees, I have 7 minutes, and then the 0.8 is going to represent my seconds. So 101 degrees and 7 minutes. And this 0.8, and you can write 0.7 by the way, or 7. This 0.8 is going to be my seconds. So I'm going to have to take that and I'm going to have to multiply that by 60 to figure out how many seconds this represents. Okay, so I'm going to do 0.7 times 60. And I'm sorry, I wrote that wrong. This should be 7 here and then this 0.8. So this should be a 0.8. Okay, so I'm taking the 0.8, which is my part of a minute here, and I'm going to multiply by 60. So that means I have 101 full degrees. I have the 7 full minutes, technically 07. If you just wrote 7, that's fine. And then we have 48 seconds. So this idea is talking about coterminal. And if you're looking for a coterminal angle, what you're really doing for number 13 is you're just subtracting 360 several times. So if I subtract once, I get 487. If I subtract again, I get 127. If I subtract again, I get a negative number. The directions say the least positive coterminal angle. So for number 13, your answer is 127 degrees. For these two questions, it says to find the third measure of a triangle. Triangles add up to 180 degrees. So if you take the 180 and subtract out the two given angles, that will leave you with the remaining angle. So do the same thing here. I just subtracted out, and that would be the measure of my third angle for each of these triangles. So in this example, they give you a side, AC, and they tell you that these two sides are parallel, AB and DE. So if you take your paper and you can turn it, if you can't, that's okay too. These are the parallel lines. That means these other ones would be like your alternate interior, alternate exterior, or whatever. And you're looking for the side that corresponds with AC. So if this is your alternate interior angle, that means this side, the one that I squiggled, would correspond with this side over here. And I can even use like a different color. What I need to do correctly, though, is name it. If this is AC, then that means this one needs to be EC. And make sure you label it correctly. In this example, you were given some information. Angle A is 63, angle E is 35. I'm going to fill in the rest of the information. This would also be 35. This would also be 63. So if we're looking for the missing angle C, all you have to do is take 180 and subtract each angle. Angle C then would equal 82 degrees. So it's just 180 minus 63 minus 35. So for this example, number 18, I filled in all of this given information into the picture. And what I'm looking for is side X. That's the only one that doesn't have a value. So X matches with side 20. Then I can use either of these two remaining sides. I just went ahead and did 21 over 15. Just make sure you're going in a corresponding way. So since I did X over 20, then that means I do 21 over 15. You also could have said X over 20 equals 14 over 10. Either way is fine. So now I'm going to go ahead and cross multiply. So 15x, this is 420. Divide by 15 and x equals 28. Okay, number 19. A tree casts a shadow that's 15 meters long. At the same time, the shadow cast by a 47 centimeter tall statue is 62 centimeters long. find the height of the tree. Okay, so I just am going to set up a proportion. X over 47 equals 15 over 62. Go ahead and cross multiply. Okay, and then finally, the triangles are similar. Find the angle or side that corresponds to the given angle or side. So you are given angle U, and you are asked to find the corresponding angle in this case. So if you look at the parallel lines, angle S would be your corresponding angle.